Mr. Chakma, you heard the news that that the Kuki-Zo MLAs have gone and met Mizoram Chief Minister. How do you interpret this particular meeting between the Kuki-Zo MLAs and Mizoram Chief Minister?
No, I think at this point of time, given the conflict between two communities and the sensitivity over political demands by both factions, both the Kukis and the MEITEIs demanding scheduled tribe status, Kukis demanding some kind of an administrative arrangement. There is no harm meeting them, but I do not think it's something which in any manner will persuade the MEITEIs or the Manipur government. At the end of the day, we have to understand the federal structure of the country, and the Union of India will not take measures akin to what they have taken with respect to Kashmir, reduce the state to union territory, carve out another union territory out of Jammu and Kashmir. That's not something which is going to happen with respect to the demands of the Kukis. And the government is at this point of time trying to bring the situation under control somehow. For the government, the end of conflict means absence of violence, not necessarily meeting the objectives between the two communities. So I do not think in any way what to say. It helps in that sense, but I think it sends basically a clear message to the Manipur government that, look, we being part of the whole federal structure, that we being a state, we are willing to help the people who are fleeing from Manipur, and you should create an atmosphere where the Kukis who have fled could return with safety and dignity. I think that message will be much more effective than speaking on political demands, which he usually does. That's fine. I think
Mr. Chakma, there is also, there are also voices, which say that if Kuki-Zo MLAs can meet the Mizoram Chief Minister, why can't they meet Manipur Chief Minister and voice their demand as vociferously as they have been with the Mizoram Chief Minister?
No, I think that's a failure of the Chief Minister of Manipur and the failure of the central government. And that's also a failure of the BJP, because, out of the 10 MLS, 8 MLS belong to the BJP from the Kuki community. So if the BJP leadership, whether it's JP Nadda or Home Minister Amit Shah, cannot convince their own MLS to meet the Chief Minister from their own party, then it's not the failure of the Kukis. It's a failure of the Chief Minister of Manipur. I think that's where the key issue is. I think if the Chief Minister of Manipur cannot create an atmosphere where he could be trusted and people are willing to come and meet him, then obviously they will communicate through somebody else, because each time they may not get the opportunity to meet the Home Minister of India to convey their demands. So in that sense, if ZORAMTHANGA becomes the medium, they will go through ZORAMTHANGA. If Himanta Biswa Sharma provides that opportunity, I am sure they are willing to meet Himanta Biswa Sharma also. It's a question of who provides that platform. And at this point of time, I think even the Assam Chief Minister is not willing to play a more proactive role, because he has to navigate between the sensitivities of the Manipur Chief Minister and, of course, the BJP MLS from his own party, from the Kuki community. So I think the Chief Minister of Mizoram becomes, in a way, an interlocutor. So what I was saying, that I would say that, for the Chief Minister of Mizoram, it would be more prudent to say that, the Union of India and the state of Manipur should create necessary atmosphere where the Kukis could return from Manipur.
But Dr.
That's a significant.
Okay, that's significant. But Dr. Haokip, I want to ask you a question which is two parts. A, will Mr. ZORAMTHANGA assume the role of interlocutors on behalf of the Kuki-Zo community for a larger audience? Or B, will this meeting be able to press home the point in the enlarged NDA constituents that the time has come for actually readdressing the community, the ethnicities, grievances and hurt, and it should be proactively looked into? Won't N. Biren Singh be more antagonized with this meeting rather than them meeting N. Biren Singh?
Whether N. Biren Singh is antagonized or not, I think the Kukis are doesn't care about him anymore, because as I've indicated, in the morning, also in other mediums, that the Kuki feel that he is the instigator, he is the problem, and they have been pleading for removal of the chief minister for the last few months, and that has been not successful. So what can they do? It doesn't matter whether the chief minister, to them, whether the chief minister remains or not. They feel that they are a different entity now. They have been divided. There is a kind of a boundary between the two ethnicities. So it doesn't matter to them much, and they are now only vying for a kind of unity among the several tribes within the Kuki-Mizoram communities, so that they can struggle together, and they are emphasizing on the kind of support they could get from Mizoram and uh, other people. Because if you look into the kind of relief and rehabilitation that the union government sanctions, it goes through the state government. And if you look into the kind of reality in Manipur, all the kind of relief and rehabilitations, even medical and other supplies, they were main for children, immunization and others. They have been blocked by the women's group, everywhere. For Kangpopi, from Churachandpur, it has been blocked, and even for rations for BSF and other central paramilitary forces, they have been blocked. In such a situation, what do you expect the cookies would expect from the state government? So I think they are mobilizing in such a way that they could sustain, and they could pressure for a kind of separate administration they are vying for. So that's how I see right now. And so to some extent, the Kuki MLS, the 10 Kuki MLS, as well as the Mizo Chief Minister ZORAMTHANGA, they played a very vital role, and they have been coordinating, talking, and trying to do certain things that would, at least meet their demands. Because India is a union of states where you have different cultural groups coming together. And as per Article 3 of the Indian Constitution, the state boundaries depends upon the union parliament. They can amend. It's not unconstitutional to amend and change the union, the kind of boundaries that we have in the northeast or any part of India. The latest being Telangana. The people of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, they have the same language and culture, yet they are divided because the people of Telangana feels that they are economically deprived from the coastal Andhra. So until and unless some semblance of developmental justice is done to the hill areas, I think it will take decades. But the kind of anxiety, the kind of displeasure of this developmental disparity that we have in Manipur, it will keep on, and until you solve this, there is not going to be a Manipur that is peaceful, and you will not have a Manipur that is, vying for a peaceful coexistence. That's how I take, and we have been articulating it in different forms, which many did not take it, positively, because we have been seeing. Of course, we can debate about the process of how this, developmentalism works, but still, you can visibly see in the hill districts that the hill districts lack a lot. We have to look into that, and of course, this has to be resolved through dialogue. But the kind of conflict that we have now, people would prefer to have their own separate entities of economic development, rather than
Okay.
discuss with the majority committee now.
I'm also being joined by Professor Oinam Bhagat, who is a concurrent faculty, Special Center for the Study of Northeast JNU. Mr. Bhagat, welcome to News 9 Mediaverse. Are you getting my voice, sir? Professor Bhagat? I think there's some technical issue and Professor Bhagat is not able to receive my voice. Mr. Chakma, I would come to you and we'll go to Professor Bhagat once his connection is restored. I mean, it's very clear, Mr. Chakma, that the Kuki-Zo community has no faith in Biren Singh government. It is also clear that that there is an absolute deep divide with no signs of any bridge. There is a meeting with Sioux community. There's meeting with Kuki groups also back there in New Delhi with the Home Minister. What kind of chatter are you picking up from those meetings, sir? Are the meetings so inconclusive that there is no sign of any hope whatsoever in any kind of reconciliation?
No, I don't think it's fair also to expect any kind of solution when the the conflicts are continuing, and wherever there are opportunities, there will be riots. I don't think in that kind of a situation you could find a solution, because if you give in to one particular group, the other groups will come up. And we have to remember that if you look at the peace processes in the Northeast India, it is even difficult where the groups have particular territories. Now, in the case of Manipur, it is contesting claims. So if you look at the contesting claims, the best lesson which we get from the peace process in Manipur, or peace process in Manipur, and which anybody who is interested for some kind of a political resolution, the best lesson is offered by the Naga peace process. The Nagas had entered into ceasefire agreement effective from 25th July 1997. So from 1997 till today, after a gap of over 25 years, they have not been able to find any kind of solution except saying framework of agreement, which nobody knows. And there are different interpretation and text which NSC, NIM, as well as the Government of India official refer to. And one of the key reasons is because of the demands of the Nagas that you have to create a greater Nagaland. So creating greater Nagaland is, very, very difficult, because at the end of the day, creating or carving out a state, taking away from somebody else's state, it requires concurrence of the state assembly. And that's the whole issue about Jammu and Kashmir, constitutional challenge, whether the governor could replace the state government. People usually refer to, the Telangana. Please remember, Andhra Pradesh Assembly had, ratified it. That's why the Congress collapsed. So there are processes which you cannot ignore. And if you look at today, that, the government of Manipur will not give an inch with respect to its territory. And that's known by the Home Ministry officials very much. So that is not going to come out if you look at the Naga peace process. And of course, there are territories which the Kukis, reside, inhabit from whichever time period. Then the Nagas will say that this belongs to us. And so this whole contesting claim, I don't think there is any official in the Home Ministry who believes that, they can find conclusive solution, acceptable solution. They are keeping engaged so that people basically do not fall off the map. At least something goes wrong, then you can talk to them. Please, whatever leverage you have, you use that. Beyond that, I don't think it is, even fair or pragmatic to expect that you will find some kind of a solution. I give you two examples. One example is on Manipur, when as I had mentioned many times earlier, when the ceasefire was extended to the Naga inhabited areas, irrespective of wherever, the assembly of the Manipur assembly was burned down. And that was in, I think, 2001. The second time, I think, when the issue of issuance of permanent residence certificate, PRCs, came up in Arunachal Pradesh, that was in 2020. The house of the deputy chief minister was burned down. So this, the central government is fully aware that, when the mob take the law into their own hands, they are completely helpless, because how many people you can shoot down and, kill. So that's why what the center is trying to do is not finding solution, but everybody trying to keep everybody in good humor, that, we are talking to the Kukis, we are talking to the MEITEIs, various groups, various levels of talks, are going on. just to cool down the situation. I do not expect any kind of solution, whether with respect to the ST status of the MEITEIs or, some kind of autonomy. I'm not even talking about separate administration. Even strengthening of the hill district councils, which were enacted in 1972 pursuant to the, Article 371. I don't think anybody would tinker at this point of time. People individually, the official, they just want to come out. They just want to come out. Demands, aspirations are separating. Practical way, things, the way they work or the government would work, I don't speak on behalf of the government. But, that's the reality. You want to come out of it. That's all.
I must admit on air, Mr. Chakma, that there was a very astute and very practical analysis of how the talks are going on and how the understanding on the ground